Sometimes we can have a very passive guide when we ask for help, and this is all due to both our guide's teaching style and our own personal development. So this week, in this third video of the Invisible Accessible series, I'm going to explain to you the top 5 reasons that make our guides passive. So before I start, I just want to let you know that, like us, the guides all have their personalities, so they all have their way of doing things and thus their own teaching styles. So this is why you can have a guide that is very nurturing and loving and just there for us all the time. Very benevolent. And on the other side, you can have a guide that is very passive, that is very stern, very discreet, and that is another personality. It's another teaching style. And so that's how we have active versus passive. And now I'm going to explain to you the top 5 reasons why they can be passive all the time or sometimes. So the first reason is, as I mentioned it before, their teaching styles. Some guides believe that we evolve much faster when they leave us on Earth, do our experiences, and learn our lessons. And then when we go back to the astral plane, to the spirit world, this is when they are very active with us, and we look back at our lives and the lessons that were learned or missed, and karma that was balanced or not. Now, the second reason is the maturity of our soul. So when the soul gets more mature, it's towards the end of the reincarnation cycle. So if we don't have many lives to incarnate, we may be very well used to coming here on Earth, and we may decide, make the conscious decision that we don't need to have a very active guide with us, and we may formally make a request to our guide, or maybe it's not even discussed because it's just so obvious that you are towards the end and that's not what you need anymore. Now, the third reason is because we are lazy. Sometimes a thing that can happen is that when we are aware of all the guides, the angelic realm, and as Sonia Choquette calls it, it's our support system. People get really excited and ask for their help all the time. And at some point, some people might just step back and say, okay, I've got this problem, please solve it for me. But the guides are there to guide us, and they can give tips, guidance, but they're not there to do the work for us. So when that happens, they just step back in the background and let us do our experiences. And in those times, we don't see their signs as much as we used to. Now, the fourth reason is that we ask for information that we cannot or should not receive at the moment. And this is something that I see regularly when I do readings and oracle card readings with my clients, is that we ask for an information that wouldn't be beneficial or just isn't pertinent at the moment because we need to make our experiences. Now, in life, we all have our initiation rituals that can be, the big moments that we all have. For some, it might be a marriage, a breakup, becoming a parent, or losing a close one. So, for example, if we haven't found our soulmate yet, and we ask, who is my soulmate? And we ask for very, very precise information, we may not get anything because we need to be in other relationships before. We need to learn how to love ourselves. We need to learn how to make sure we are respected. We need to set our boundaries. And so when we ask too much information that we wouldn't be able to hear right now, we just don't get the guidance, or it's very, very general, but we don't get those precise answers that we would like. And sometimes we feel like we are let down, but it's just a guide that is more passive to make sure that we make our life experiences. And the fifth reason is that they leave us clues, but we do not see them. Now, an image that I really, really like is that guides are there, as I said earlier, to guide us. And so we have all these different pathways in our lives because we come here with our life's missions and we have a lot of things that we want to do. So we have a lot of options before incarnating, and once we are on earth we have so many options. So there are a lot of good options for us, and they light the way, and they drop little hints here and there for us to see, oh, this is a good pathway, this is what I need to do. Sometimes we are so much in our minds, or the ego is so much present that we cannot see those hints, those signs from the guides. And this is why we feel like they are passive, when in fact they aren't truly. But now you're going to ask me, okay, how do I know if my guide truly is passive, or I'm not just, getting, seeing, hearing the guidance? Well, the answer is very simple. Just ask them. And to ask them, you can either do it by yourself, you can meditate 10 to 20 minutes, and then you just talk to them. You say, okay, guides, now I have a question for you. If you're not comfortable speaking out loud, you can do it in your mind, or you can do some automatic writing. So just ask your questions, start writing. At first, it's going to feel maybe as if you're writing, just nonsense or things that aren't important. And at some point, you are going to start channeling, and your guides are going to give you your answers. If those two things, the second thing, I didn't say the second thing yet. Second thing you can do is use oracle cards. And what I was about to say is that if speaking to your guides or using oracle cards doesn't work for you, the third option that you have is ask a medium or a psychic that can ask that information for you, and you can ask me and I will be very happy to help you out. So before I finish, I just want to say that the guides are always there for you, whether they are active or passive. They're always there listening. When they are passive, be sure it is for a reason. It's always for your own good. And I see a lot of both. With my clients, I can tell immediately if that guide is very active or passive. When they're active, I can feel that they're eager to talk to me and to pass on the messages. I have a client with whom I get a lot of exercises to help her through her personal development. And they're going to say, wait, I also need to add something more. I want to tell her something about the future, just so something that she can practice to help her in the future. And with another client, I feel it immediately we get answers, but I feel this, it's more that like the guide is more reserved, and it's always answers like, you have your free will, you know what to do, any option is good, make your own experiences. Now that is a very passive guide. Doesn't mean that it's bad, it's just another style, and you are going to learn tremendously with that type of guide. And I just want to say, if you have your own personal stories or anecdotes about guides that have been very active or very passive with you, please share them with me. You can share them just below, or if it's very private, you can just send me a private message, And it's always a pleasure for me to read your stories and to share with you. Thank you. Bye bye.